Well, today we are joined by, in my lifetime, the greatest try scorer I've ever seen. When he was a witness, I think it was something like 149 games, 161 tries, something like that, then did the same at Wigan. Incredibly, scored 10 tries in a game in the Challenge Cup semi-final, not against Mugs, against Leeds, no less. And come out to Australia, had a big impact to St George and East. Martin Offiah.
Pleasure.
The legend. How you going, mate?
I'm going good. I'm in Vegas.
Oh, yeah. I got sucked into the vortex last night. There were 4 blokes from Lancashire who once wrote a song called Hard Day's Night. Yeah. Now I know what they meant.
I think that was to do with working down the pits, wasn't it?
Yeah, something like that.
Hey, is it Offiah or Offiah?
I get that.
Do you get that?
I get that a lot. It's followed me throughout my career because in England they call me Offiah because of Chariots, but in Australia I'm Offiah.
Offiah.
Yeah, and originally I was Offiah when I was
convicts.
Well,
yeah, what we do. What we do.
When I was born, but Offiah's my stage name.
Marty, firstly, before we get away, mate, I want to congratulate you on your 2 young blokes. Tyler, who's playing in Bath in rugby union. Yep. Big, people who don't know, like Bath, big rugby union club.
Yep.
And Phoenix, signed with Tottenham Hotspur.
Yeah.
Incredible, huh?
Yeah, a lot of hard work, a lot of graft, a lot of belief, just transferring a lot of what I had for myself, to my kids. Not always did they want to listen, but thankfully they listened enough. And so, it's over to them now. I've done my bit.
Marty, it's funny. We're on the lift on the way up, right?
Yeah.
And my youngest bloke, Cooper, who's here, second favourite son,
yeah.
He actually said to me on the way up, he said, listen, when you introduce Marty, make sure that, I said, mate, I've been doing this shit for fucking 30 years, right?
Hey, sometimes it needs to be told.
I suppose so.
Sometimes it needs to be told. Hey, how old are the young blokes?
My youngest is 15 and my eldest is 18.
So he's 15 and got signed to Tottenham Hotspur?
He's got a 2-year deal there. But both my sons are bigger than me now. I wear their hand-me-downs.
Well, look at the bloke over there, Jack. My son number 1, he's 6'3".
Yeah.
I met his dad recently. What a wonderful bloke.
Paul Harrigan.
So Marty, like you were in rugby union player, then went to Widnes.
Yeah.
One of the first games you played. 89?
87.
87.
Yeah.
How was the shift?
It wasn't too difficult. I didn't score for 2 games, which was a bit tough. But then went on to score 15 games straight. So it was my coach Doug Lawton after he signed me. I think after the 2 games not scoring, he said to me, "Martin, I can't buy a try scorer winger that doesn't score tries." So I thought, no pressure. But I soon figured it out. But I took to it very much like a duck to water. Because I was a big sevens player playing rugby union. Played in the Hong Kong Sevens, played against quite a few All Blacks, the likes of Zinzan Brook, Frana Boddicker, Mark Brooke Cowden, and the likes in Hong Kong Sevens. And I saw rugby league. I just had this vision that said it's like playing sevens, but there's 13 players on the pitch, and you don't have to ruck them all. And that was basically my mindset, and just getting on the end of stuff. Used to watch people like Ellery Hanley and Sean Edwards play, and I just think to myself, God, anyone can go up the middle and inside support, like what Terry Lamb does. You just got to be fit. But I said, not everyone can do what I did, and that's pick the ball up in your own end goal and score on the other end. So
that's it, mate. Like you're a finisher, but I was talking to someone last night, and I remember playing against you. We played at Wembley in a World Cup final, and the thing about it, you would get in the centre field, and I said it was a nightmare. Because you like unorthodox and running around. You and Jason Robinson.
Yeah. I just remember, I think a couple of years ago, I was on Facebook and Timmy Brasher was giving me some stick. Because I was saying to him, if they had video referees back then, them days, we would have been 6-0 up because I was nowhere in touch. Still, people keep saying, let it go. You've scored 501 tries, but still the ones that get away. But
how'd you go going from union to league? Did you find it hard initially?
No, not really. You just in life, you just got to figure stuff out. And if you're looking for solutions, you will find them. If you've got, I was a try scorer in rugby union, and I just had that desire. If you have a desire, you figure it out. You've got the raw materials, And yeah, I was just putting it all together, really doing stuff. I think, I say like Terry Lamb was doing. He was probably the first sport player, and I think Ellery and Sean Edwards sort of saw what he was doing, and then I saw what they were doing, and I just had that desire to score lots of tries. I thought to myself, if I stayed on my wing, that I'm only going to score a percentage of the tries scored on the left-hand side. And I said, but if you want to score a lot of tries, then, if I can be in the middle, if I can be on the right-hand side and figure out the game, understand how people like to pass, and figure out I can get over the line a lot. So, I see a lot of wingers doing it now. Like, Chris Ashton was someone who took it from league, that style of play from league to union, and he did quite well. But, in the 80s, there was no wingers really doing that. I don't care what side of the world it was. I kind of...
Did your coaches ever try to pull you up back in the... how some coaches try to stay on your wing?
Yeah.
They try to pull you up a fair bit?
Absolutely. But, I remember my first coach at was in Pops. He was telling me, just run straight. Stop running across the field. I'm thinking, well, no, if I can run across the field and score a try, that's why I see coaches now, who have played to a certain level, and then they coach stuff out of kids.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And I was thinking to myself, imagine like a Danny Cipriani, a coach who's only played up to a certain level. You don't know when you're coaching kids, you don't know who you're coaching. You could be coaching the next, Andrew Johns.
Yeah. Or Matthew.
Or Matthew Johns. and you don't know what's inside that kid's head. So why would you, put him in a box and say, don't do that and do that?
Martin, I watched a documentary last year. It was sent to me it was huge at the time, transfer from Widnes to Wigan. And to give it some context, this was in 92, 400,000 pounds.
440,000.
Yeah.
That was Maurice Lindsey. He was a visionary. I remember when, Widnes, obviously I topped the try scoring charts 4 years on the row, and I knew that they weren't going to let me go without a fight. But so I had to hold my ground, just because back in those days, I was at the beginning of kind of contracts and stuff like that, because in the 80s in England, once you signed for a professional club, you signed your amateur status away, and that was it. You were owned by the club. But then the Bosmans came in, and then you started having 2 and 3 year contracts. I literally had a 3-year contract and this original contract side by side. So when my 3-year contract was up, I said to Widnes, I want to go, and they were like, mate, you've been the top try scorer before. I went there, they nearly got relegated. Obviously, they signed a few other players, but then, won back-to-back championships and so much, so they didn't want to let me go.
You're right about Morris. What a loss he is to the game. So, people that don't know Maurice Lindsey, he one of the great characters here, born and bred in Wigan, just so passionate about the game. When I went to Wigan, it was funny. He's you walk into his office, and it was like a gargantuan tribute to himself. There was like, it was like he's sitting there like the king in his palace, and you go and say, "Hello, Mr. Lindsey," and you go, "Yeah, right."
But I'd see a lot of Chris Radlinski, our current CEO. He learnt from Morris. It's having that vision. It's about having that vision and then trying to sort it out. Don't be limited by the fact that you haven't got all the answers now. And when I heard that, Widnes put me on the transfer list for 750,000, I thought, so you didn't want to pay me as much as Jonathan Davis, but now you're trying to sell me for 750,000. It was mind-boggling, because even today, and this is 2025, you try to spend that money on a
Martin, like Wigan. Yeah, that side you blokes played in Wigan, we're incredible. I mean, you beat the Broncos in Brisbane, you won the Sevens, and that was, I mean, blokes like yourself and Ellery. I said to people all the time, like you guys were rock stars. It must have been great fun back in the day. Yeah,
it was knocking about with Ellery. I didn't really know Ellery until I came out to tour with Great Britain in '88, because when Ellery was one of these people, if you weren't in his camp, he didn't even look in your direction. He was a big superstar, and I was literally nobody.
Was there a big age difference there?
Yeah, it was not big. It was like 3-4 years or something like that. So he was like, he was the man. And then I got to room with him when I was out here in '88, and obviously we won that third test in Sydney when no one gave us a cat and hell's chance. And then we really bonded that and we're quite tight. And he took me under his wing, and yeah, I really did look up to him. And it was like, getting into nightclubs for free, and having. I was
going to say, rooming with Ellery must have been an amazing thing.
Basically, it was. I learned a lot of him as well. He taught me about star power and the value of yourself, because, as I said, I signed an initial contract with Widnes, and it's come out of nowhere. I won the Man of Steel, was top try scorer. We won the league, and then went out to Australia. And I said, and I signed this contract where I got 45 grand in the first year, and I was on 5 grand a year for 9 years. And I thought to Ellery, I can't do that. He goes, we're just going to ask for more money. I went, what? You can do that? He went, mate, they nearly got relegated before you came there. Of course you could do that. So I went back and had a meeting with Doug Lawton. I went, could I have some more money? He went, yes. I went, fuck, this is it.
I should have done this for you.
I couldn't believe it. But he taught me a lot, Ellery. He taught me a lot. Taught me about support player, taught me about lifestyle. I went to his house, and wow, he had a steam room in his house, and God, used to drive his car, and used to live the rock star lifestyle.
When he came out to Balmain Tigers, out here, out here, we're in Las Vegas. He didn't play in Las Vegas, of course. God, imagine if being a Las Vegas Raiders. How do you stay focused? Anyway, nonetheless, he came out to with Balmain. He was unbelievable. Like when he arrived, they were mid-table, and they went this amazing run. And the boys say it all the time, like, what did Ellery do in his spare time? Run 400-metre sprints. Like just trained incredibly.
That's another thing he taught me about, how to get the best out of yourself, and you train with athletes, and looking after your body. He was the consummate professional, because he had a vision. Yeah.
You and Ellery, like you just said, you're not a big drinker before. Was Ellery a big drinker?
No, he was not. I think he'd have a cocktail once a year or something like that, but he was not.
How did you, when you come out to Australia and you see the different cultures, obviously a lot of the Australian rugby league players are massive drinkers.
Yeah.
Did any of that rub off on you and Ellery, or you guys stuck strong through a lot?
Not really. We was only out here for a short term. It's not like, Sammy Burgess and James Graham and the boys come out and be for a whole season. It was, I think I played like 12 games in a stretch, had 3 stints out here. But after seeing Ellery play, and I just used to love, obviously you could come out and earn a few quid, but the reason why I wanted to come out, because after watching Ellery play and, Graham Hughes, the commentator, Channel 10, oh, mate, my dream was just to come out to Australia and play in a game where he was commentator. Because some of the stuff he used to say, I was just like, it was, when Ellery was playing, that's what we used to love over there, just the razzmatazz and, the commentators. He was awesome. And when I came out in 91 to play with St George, and we played East at the football stadium, even to this day, if I'm having a bad day, I'll go to YouTube and I'll put that video on. And when he calls me a freak, the hairs on the back of go all the way from Widnes.
There he goes, Martin Offiah, he scores. Remember when you first try?
Yeah.
You come out to East.
Oh, yeah, first touch of the ball.
First touch of the ball. Well, he's come out here all the way from Wigan's try score. Let's see if he's got what it takes out here. And bang, score the try.
Yeah, first touch of the ball,
How'd Wigan, incredibly, it's such a great town.
Yeah.
Working class town. How were you treated by the fans there at Central Park?
Oh, but even now, God, I got up to, I left Wigan in 96 and we're in 2025. And I think last year I was just up, with my role as an ambassador. I've been an ambassador for the Wigan Warriors for the last 2 years now. And I was just randomly up at game, and then I just went back to the hotel, and I was going back to London the next day. And Gary Connolly phoned me. He said, I'm at a wedding just round the corner. Someone said you're in town. He said, come up. I said, God, come up, just rock up at someone else's wedding. He goes, of course you can. So I said, okay. Then I had a couple. And so I just got in a cab, went up to this wedding. Jeez, I thought I was the groom the way they welcomed me in. It's crazy, mate. Wigan is amazing.
Well, these two boys, when they were young tackers, they were over there. When we had a year there, when they came home, they were like, they had the thick Wigan accent. G'day, Daddy. What's going on? G'day, mate. What's going on? How'd you enjoy your stint in Australia? Like the fans in Australia. Like you were great at East, but your impact at St George.
Yeah, me and Ricky Walford. That was year. It was phenomenal. I picked up because I was playing a lot of rugby from like 85 to till I think 95. I didn't have any time off. I was just like either on tour with Great Britain or playing in the NRL, and it just caught up with me towards the end because I had a brilliant start with St George. I think I scored a phenomenal amount of tries in the first 8 games or something. I don't think there was hardly a game I didn't score in, and then just picked up a bit of a groin injury, and then it was a bit tough going after that, and I think we just missed out.
Brian Smith, coach of there.
Yeah, Brian Smith.
Smith, he's never coached a premiership, and he's a little bit maligned in Australia. Unfairly, how'd you find him as a coach?
It's kind of funny because he used to be a colour commentator in the English game when he was at Hull. And he used to slag me off all the time.
Yeah.
So when I found out he wanted to sign me, I just thought, really? I thought it was a G up, as they say in Australia. But I loved it. He didn't put too many parameters on me. He just wanted me to go out and enjoy myself and score tries and play with Ricky Walford as well.
Got a confession for you, right? Yeah. So you played at Newcastle one day, you and Ricky, and you were just like scoring tries for fun. So I was a young kid there, like coming through the grades. So the coach, Alan McMahon, went to my brother Andrew and I, because we were groundsmen at the time. Didn't even know how to start a mower anyway. Yep. And they just said, hose down, make the 10-metre corridors in the sidelines just a mud heap to slow them down. Yeah.
And did they score?
You Aussies love cheating.
Yeah.
It's only Leodorine comes over out on a podcast like 20 years later and says that he cheated in that race, because everyone used to think that that I just threw the race and whatever, but they were paying me like $2,500 win, lose or draw. So
it was a Friday night game, and they got Chariots and Lee O'Donnell. Lee O'Donnell was the fastest player in Australia.
Yeah.
Now they went bang, and Lee heard the bang. Heard the B for bang, and he was off a bit of false start.
He knew, because he'd practiced with the guy starting the race. So he says in this podcast, that he practiced with the guy, so they were like doing their timing, because you can see if you watch it on YouTube that he's off. So they've obviously practiced the start. And he got the jump on me, and I couldn't.
Yeah,
couldn't
it was a bit of interference too.
So what was it? Was it like a Super League versus NRL race?
It was just I was playing for Great Britain. He was playing for Parramatta, and it was just before a game. Paramount versus Great Britain, and we just rocked up and they just had a race at the beginning of the game.
You did a race and then played?
Yeah. We both did. I scored 2 tries in the game.
It was totally different. Yeah. So like kangaroo tours, boys, like this is like lost on them. It was kangaroo tours and Great Britain tours. So it was like they come every 4 years, and we do vice versa. But what you do on a kangaroo tour, you played all the sides. Yeah. So it was midweek games, so you play everyone.
You played all the club. You actually played all the club sides.
Yeah, we also go out and play like different sides out in Toowoomba and whatever, and countryside and stuff like that.
Stop at Papua New Guinea on the way there.
Oh yeah.
Then
New Zealand on the way back. Yeah, so it's like a 12-week tour. It was a long.
Who was the toughest opponent of a lot of those club sides back then when you come out and played? Which NRL side?
I think all the tight sides were pretty tough. Yeah. It was all pretty tough sides. Yeah, I think we lost that day at Parramatta. I think I played against Leo Durana, but I scored 2 tries. I always like to remind them of that.
Yeah, that's
which is the most important thing, because people
who cares about the race?
People get obsessed with speed, and even to this day now, like wherever I'm going, the question I get asked most is like, what was your 100 time? I'm thinking, mate, who cares what your 100 time is? It's about being a winger is about scoring tries.
100%.
But with wingers, they're so obsessed with how fast you can run.
That's it, mate. I mean, we're zigging and zagging here, but Wembley Stadium for you, some of the tries you scored there, Martin, that must for you a really special ground. Yeah. The old Wembley.
Oh God, yeah, very much so. Because I had a decision to make at the end of my season in '91 with St George, whether was I going to stay, with St George or stay in Australia, or was I going to go back to England? And I was at this vision. I wanted to play in the Challenge Cup final. I wanted to play at Wigan. I just felt that was my destiny to do that. And I always thought to myself, I'm going to end up living in England. I probably wouldn't end up living in Australia. So I thought, what's the point of creating a legacy and then going back to England? You have to be either like James or Sam and, stay in Australia after you finish playing. So when I came back to England, I was just hell-bent on getting to Wigan. I thought, if I get to Wigan, even though there's a lot of pressure on because obviously they won 4 Wembley Challenge Cup finals back to back, and then they sold Ellery for $250,000 and bought me for $450,000. And everyone's like, no pressure. If you want to know what pressure is, that is pressure.
Did you also have a statue at the front of Wembley as well?
Yeah,
right?
Now, but the story is obviously I get to Wembley. Obviously, I won the Lance Todd in '92, but really didn't do anything that great. I felt.
So Lance Todd's man of the match. Challenge Cup.
But '93 got knocked out by a pal of mine who played for Widnes, my ex-team, a guy called Richie Ayres. Come '94, I wake up on the morning of the game, and like it's different. In Australia, you've got press coming out of every orifice, but in England, to get press is a big deal. To be in a national newspaper. But back in '94, I woke up and in the top, red top newspaper, the Daily Mirror, it was a article on me, which a guy called Alex Murphy wrote, saying I'm finished. I'm the best of the bad bunch, and I keep that paper. It's pinned to my Instagram top feed page to remind you and to remind myself every day, and I get my sons to read it, that it's not about what people say about you, it's what you say about yourself. And so I just thought to myself on that day, wow, and this is when rugby league was on once a year. It's only once a year. It was on terrestrial TV, national TV. The whole of the country is watching. So I'm thinking, this is a moment. There's a story about me saying I'm rubbish in a newspaper. If I can go out and do something today, I'm going to be remembered forever.
Yeah.
And I didn't realise it was going to be the makings of a statue, but I went out, scored that try. It's even there's a documentary about Wigan, the great season that we had last year. Yeah. And, I know that clip is going to be even featured in that. So, it's helped keep my relevance and, and it's helped, I think, to inspire, future generations in this Wigan team, what we're doing now and out here in Vegas. And it's amazing.
Yeah. Not like the Wembley Stadium, the old Wembley. Like I grew up as a kid watching Challenge Cup, FA Cup finals and Challenge Cup finals. And I remember walking out onto Wembley, and it was incredible. The old Wembley almost reverberated. I remember walking out, and the whole crowd was singing "Land of Hope and Glory," and you had that. It was surreal. Yeah, it was an amazing place.
Absolutely. I mean, I played for Great Britain, I think, in 1990 when we beat Australia in the first Ashes, and I remember they had it was the early days of pyrotechnics going off, and I don't think they had it quite right because it felt like it was in the Battle of the Somme in the First World War. I couldn't see a thing for the first 10 minutes. It was just smoke and coughing and everything like that. But I remember when it went off, everyone was like, it was shot. I was like, Jesus.
Yeah. Well, there's a story of I used to play at Melbourne Storm, and they're in a semi-final one day. I don't know if you know the player Joey Leilua. He was playing for the Canberra Raiders, and a similar thing. They hadn't nailed exactly the fireworks. So one of the fireworks came out sideways and went in Joey Leilua's eye.
Oh no! God.
Right on kickoff, and he just walked off the field, and they couldn't play the rest of the game. Yeah. So they're still learning about it. Yeah. They still haven't quite nailed the pre-game entertainment.
I think we've got it a bit better now. Even though when Penrith came over to play us in the World Cup Challenge last year, I think they were still quite smoky after that. So still a bit to work on. But going back to it, Wembley, it was just amazing playing that day. And ironically, Alex Murphy, who wrote the story about me, and I still have never mentioned that story to him. But we are going to be together forever because he's on that statue with me.
Well, it's good that you don't hold a grudge. Yeah. That's
but never forget. They say, never forget.
You're like Michael Jordan.
No. Yeah. Now, Martin. So you're Jamaican ancestry?
No, Nigerian.
Nigerian. Aha. I'm sorry. I apologise now. Cooper, you played when I coached that side.
Yep.
There was a young Nigerian guy who played. He came out.
Yep.
And I used to tell him all the time. I said, mate, the best rugby league players out of England, some of the greatest players, Nigerian ancestry. So what, to come out, was it your parents that went to England?
Yeah, my parents actually met outside a tube station in London, and all my family are just, very cerebral. My dad was a barrister, my mum was a school teacher. Everyone in my family has degrees apart from me, but I always say I'm the only one with an MBE. So
the only one who scored that many tries too.
Yeah, exactly. But so you got to believe in yourself and do what you want to do in this world. It's very hard if you've got obviously parents who are successful at stuff. I know it must be hard for your boys as well. They want to go down.
Not really.
I told them at the moment they were young. I said, look, guys, straight from the outset, no pressure, but you're never going to be able to do what I did.
But, it's hard for a kid then to say, this is what I want to do, whether it's what your parents do or something different. That's why, my youngest, Phoenix, he scored this only playing in a little kids competition, but it was at Twickenham. And he scored a fantastic try. And when I saw him score that try, I thought to myself, mate, this guy's going to play here one day, Yeah. And then a couple of days later, he told me, Dad, I want to play football and I want to play rugby. And there was a tear in my eye, if I'm going to be honest. But at the end of the day, I thought, I've had my life, I've had my career, I've done, it's about him and me supporting him.
It's funny. I watched a FA Cup final once, and I remember, like, where I'm from, Marty, up in the Hunter Valley, like the coalfields. It's just rugby league, first, second, and third. And I came home one day and I said, Dad, I want to play for Manchester United one day. And he goes, well, okay, so you want to play soccer? Yeah. And he goes, we've got to make a decision. It's totally up to you. It's your life. You've got to make a decision now, rugby league or soccer. And I said, Dad, I want to play soccer. He said, like, fuck, you're going to play rugby league.
How do you... Tell me about, you just spoke about your boys.
Yeah.
You seem like a quite confident bloke. Like, you had a lot of pressure on you with transfer fees and things like that. It seems like it didn't really bother you as a player. How do you go with your boys now? Like, with your youngest just signing with Tottenham, do you struggle as a dad, like, watching them play?
I used to struggle a lot more than I do now because of, there's the mindfulness of, my dad wrote a book called Understanding Your Emotions, and every time you feel something, that's an opportunity to learn, feel that stress, and you don't want to try and spread negativity. If something, the reason why I've been successful in life is because I've taken negativity and I've turned it into positivity. I was a black guy playing rugby league in the 80s up north in Hull, and there was 20,000 people calling me a whatever, and I just turned that into fuel. And when they say, you ain't going to score today, you black whatever, I thought, oh yes, I am.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a good one. And then I do that and I just stand in front of them and smile. And so in life, you take negativity and turn it into positivity. So when I watch my kids play and I feel that urge, I even want to shout at them or I want to say something, whatever, I just breathe and be calm and just think, whatever I do now is not going to have a positive impact on them. All I'm doing is just spreading my negativity. So no, just let it go. Just try and figure out some way to turn it into a positivity. Just either a positive note, as I say now on my phone, I'll just put a note in my WhatsApp. I'll say, remember to do this, blah, 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 or do that. And then just, it's gone and it's out of you. And you've got to realize that, like my eldest now, he lives down in Bath, we still talk on the phone, but I'm not by the side of the pitch critique him anymore. I just speak to him, and he tells me how his session's gone, whatever. I can watch his stuff on Huddle, whatever, watch his games. And then you're there from afar. You're like a mentor giving advice. And at the end of the day, it's their journey. They've got, I didn't have a dad who played rugby league. I was just a skinny kid from Hackney. How did I end up doing that? You just figure it out. So sometimes in life, I found out if I give them the answers as I did my eldest, then I'm taken away from him. Even if he does become great, I'm taken away from him. He's got to be truly great. You've got to figure it out for yourself.
Post-football, Chariots, dancing with the stars.
Strictly Come Dancing, as they call it.
Strictly Dancing, yeah. We do it different in Australia.
Yeah.
In Australia, we're actually going to spell it out.
Yeah.
And mate, I saw Emmerdale. Acting on Emmerdale.
Yeah, when I retired, I got a good friend of mine from school, a guy called Chris Obi, who is an actor, and I lent him some money, as you do as friends when he was a bit struggling actors. He never paid me back. Yeah,
if it's funny that it happens quite a bit. Good way to lose friends. Lend them money.
But so he gave me acting lessons when I retired. So I wanted to be an actor. As I played myself in a couple of soaps. But then the whole reality TV thing came about. So I got into that, and then that's what helped sort of grow my sort of brand, sort of really in England. A lot of people, as I said, I've been retired 20 plus years, but just know me from reality TV shows. But then they'd always show my Wigan footage, and it was Michael Maguire, as I may have told you, who got me involved back in with the Wigan club.
Great man,
made me do a a speech which he read out to the team in 2010. Thankfully, they won that grand final. So they put the speech up in Wigan. So it's kind of helped my brand sort of grow, my awareness. And, I was involved in a project for Wigan's, one of their anniversaries a few years ago, where I did the narrated the poem Wigan Peerless, which kind of ingratiated me back into the club. Obviously, I'd scored a few tries and people remembered me, and you get, racehorses and greyhounds. I think there's a greyhound in Australia called Chariots, Offiah, which is won a few races.
I think
and
I got
stuff.
put down, unfortunately. Hopefully it's not an omen.
Dad had one as well. Dad had a greyhound named after him as well, Tiny Hands Johns.
Oh, yeah. Because
his dad's got small hands.
I say all the time, mate, small hands, small feet, big brain.
Yeah.
Anyway, this bloke, Brian Fletcher and Nathan Holt, and you'll meet the guys. Terrific fellas in their own way. And they were at the Wentworth Park Dogs, all the winners go, so they're wearing tracksuits, and this dog come past, and this bloke goes, "Hey, boys, I got this greyhound. I reckon she's going to be a beauty. You got a name for it?" And they went, "Tiny Hands Johns." I looked at the form guide and it said, "Tiny Hands Johns, named after Matthew Johns, who has small hands." And I thought, well, it'll never win. The fucking thing won 8 straight. They could not get it.
Couldn't get tiny paws.
It just couldn't get beat. Okay, now Martin. This is what have we got here?
What are you going to do?
I was going to do Lone Survivor. Right. So I'm going to give you names of players, the best players you've shared a field with. Yeah. Okay, you got to pick one or the other. Yeah. Good way to make enemies is.
Oh, yeah.
Let's start with an easy one. Andy Gregory.
Yeah.
Or Sean Edwards.
Oh, that's tough.
Yeah, I know. Both are pretty good at holding a grudge.
That's like saying mother or father. I'd have to say, because I played with him longer and because he helped me through a very tricky patch when I dislocated my shoulder at East, playing against Penrith, and then all the Wigan fans were saying, get rid of me. And Sean got me through that. And yeah, I'd have to say Sean Edwards.
Gears, I'd ask you about, that's his nickname, but some people that don't know, Sean Edwards. How do I put this? He's not the Mona Lisa. He's not the best looking bloke, but he went out with Heather Small.
I know, he does well. He does.
The lead singer of
He's got some good chat.
Who was the most gorgeous looking women. I used to go.
I was there the day you met her. Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah, because we were out at some night in Bradford and M people were playing, and then he was talking to her, and we always like, he's got no chance. if you were going to put some money down, you'd have to have at least 100 to 1 minimum. But, you know what I mean? That's what I say. You've got to believe in yourself. Even when everyone is around you is doubting you, do not doubt yourself.
I remember I saw him in Australia once and he was wearing a beret, and I thought, takes a lot of guts to wear a beret.
Mate, he has got some questionable fashion sense, Sean, but I love him. And I tell you, we didn't get on the first time we kind of came together because we were roomies in New Zealand. And I remember that every day we'd get back to the room, and I used to love to watch TV and stuff like that. And he'd hate, just like, turn that off. We're doing this. And I was like, oh, God, Sean, he'd be having arguments with himself in a mirror and wrapping up his hands before a game like he's a boxer. I'm thinking, what is this guy on? Yeah. And I remember once after this training session, I went back to the room and I thought, I'm there first. I'm going to watch TV all afternoon before our next session. And I went to put the TV on. It wasn't working. I thought, he'd only gone and pulled the plug out the cord, the cord out the plug. I thought, this guy, he's up. He's playing like chess and I'm playing checkers with this guy, but I love him to this day. Yeah.
Okay, Sean Edwards or let me think of one of the great ones you played alongside. You played with Terry O'Connor?
Of course, I played with Terry O'Connor.
Yeah, I know. Him and Terry O'Connor is a unusual bloke.
Oh, mate.
Yeah, very unusual.
I can tell you a funny story about Terry O'Connor. I'm playing for Salford and he's playing for Wigan. And I remember, because I didn't really get much, I had a bit of stick from when I was in the NRL, but in the Australian Cup, but I didn't really get that much stick from players. I got more stick from fans. But opposition players, they used to punch me in the head and stuff like that, and a bit of violence, but I was used to that, but never used to get much verbals. But I remember I was playing for Salford, this must be about 2000, 2001 against Wigan, and then Terry O'Connor starts giving me verbals, and I'm just like...
This is fat slob.
I'm thinking, I was like, mate, are you taking the fucking... I thought, that's it. That motivated me then. And I remember, I think I scored a try, I went outside Raz, we won. And after the game, I was thinking, I was like, you giving me fucking shit. Mate, I played for Wigan when they were good, mate.
Yes.
Like, you're going to get your coach the sack. And I think the coach got the sack the next day.
Oh.
And so we're friends, Terry, but I always give him about that day.
I just saw Frank Endicott downstairs. I was coached by Frank, and what a beautiful guy. But we played you place at Salford.
That's what I'm saying. He got the sack.
That's right. He hit the sack in that game. I missed 3 field goals. So technically, I got Frank the sack.
Yeah.
I'm such a beautiful bloke. I should have apologised. Okay, Sean Edwards or Andrew Enninghausen?
Oh, God. Sean Edwards. Andrew Hettenhausen. He was my nemesis.
Yeah.
Mate, not for him. We would have won a test series, definitely.
Yeah.
Because I think it was the first test in Sydney, not 92.
Yeah.
Mate, I don't know, just that much.
Just touch the sideline.
Yeah.
Okay. Sean Edwards, Mal Meninga.
Mal, mate, he fell on my knee in was it Old Trafford? That's another one. Ash's close series. I think when Ricky Stewart went through, Carl Gibson, I'm on the treatment table because Mal Meninga fell on my knee. And I'm not choosing Mal. Definitely.
Is that when Mal scored the game-winning try?
Yeah.
I say to the boys, that is the best game of rugby league of all time.
Mate, if I was on the pitch,
they wouldn't have scored?
Definitely wouldn't have scored. Carl Gibson,
I disagree,
no, I'm telling you. Because look at the break. Look at the break.
Yeah.
There's no way that he's getting all the way down there without me catching him.
Yeah.
It's like, but Carl Gibson was in my position. I was like, I'm on the treatment table at Old Trafford watching that, thinking, mate, that's the fish that got away.
You know, I'm going to cut through it all. Yeah. Was Ellery Hanley the greatest player you ever played alongside?
I'd have to say Ellery Hanley was the greatest player, because and it's not because of, there's, Andy Farrell had far more skills and technical ability. There's so many, but it was something about Ellery, just that's this inner desire and drive. Just one of these people where you was in the change room with him and you just thought, we've got a chance today just because he's here. Just not because of his skills or whatever. Even when you see him playing for Balmain and Western, it's just like whatever he did, he just managed to do it. He did, I think he scored, I remember he scored, I think it was a try at Wembley where he shouldn't have scored it. But what I learned from him, he just was edging away. He taught me, because what I learned from Ellery was wait for the line to come to you. Because a lot of players, and I see it today, when they make a break, they go, help for lever to try and score. And then they blow up and then they get caught. Whereas Ellery was one of these people that when he let the line come to him. He didn't go for the line. He was just like, just run fast enough. Because whoever's chasing you, they've got to run faster than you to catch you.
Yeah.
And he had so many tricks and stuff like that.
I loved him so much, I named my dog Border Collie Ellery. So I played him one day, right, in Newcastle. Malcolm really coached us. Yeah. And Malcolm was like, Matt, you got to be careful of Ellery, right? And he was older then. Yeah. He said he can move sideways. Yes. Unbelievable. He's so deceptive. He's quick sideways. He was. And I went, oh, yeah.
A bit like a big Jason Robertson with a bit more power, yeah.
And I was like, yeah, sure. And, mate, he just embarrassed me. It's the worst game I've ever played. What was worse is someone actually told him that I'd name his dog after him. And I went up and said, oh, yeah. He goes, how's the dog going? I went, oh, Jesus Christ, how fucking embarrassing. Yeah.
I kicked it when I got that.
Hey, Martin, appreciate your time, brother.
Mate,
you're a champion. You're such a great bloke. And you're going to be on the show tonight.
Yeah,
so,
looking forward to it.
What do you know about the show?
Just what I've seen clips over.
Do you have it over there in England?
We don't have it, but I've just picked bits off YouTube. Just love it when you give it to Heine.
I know.
That coffee was for you.
Yeah.
Heine.
I should be talking about.
That's right.
But I do feel sorry for him. He gets it, especially when Jonathan Thurston. I mean, that's just me.
Yeah, that's just me. It's me.
When you're such a great player, when you're an immortal, you should feel sorry for people or not.
Like Hindy.
Yeah, you
always be kind to the less fortunate.
Yes,
always
definitely.
Good on you, Marty. Thanks,
Marty.